Dear students, in this video we shall see the theme, structure and explanation of the poem My Mother at 66 written by Kamala Das. Kamala Das is a well-known poet and one of her most well-known poems is My Mother at 66. The complexity of interpersonal connections is well captured by Kamala Das in this poem. Within this poetry, the poet alludes to her personal life. In human connections, she highlights the contradiction. She has illustrated what a daughter feels when saying goodbye to her mother throughout the entire poem. Although she is unable to communicate her sorrow, she feels bad for her mother. The poem's central theme is aging, which is a natural law. It also portrays the young generation's hopes and helplessness. It depicts the numerous ages that people go through and how they deal with the challenges that life throws their way. Structure of this poem: it is a free verse where no regular rhyme scheme or metrical pattern is followed. Let us see a brief summary of the poem. It was a Friday and the poet was returning from her parents' house to the airport by car. She was in the car with her mother when she dozed off. The poet became aware of her mother's aging while she was asleep and is saddened by it. She also connects her mother to a dead body. She then turns to look outdoors to distract herself and notices the kids having fun and the trees moving quickly. She then understands that everything ages after a while. She is terrified by this insight. She shows up to the airport. She feels pathetic since it depicts takeoff and separation. She has a vision of her elderly mother in the twilight of her years as she says goodbye to her mother. The comparison of her mother and the wintertime late-night moon is nearly identical. She now appears more experienced, although the moonlight is hampered by the haze and cloudiness. She bids her mother a fond farewell while maintaining her wish to visit her. "I'll see you soon, Amma," she adds. She hides her tears and sadness because she prefers not to create an abrasive and stimulating environment. She expects her mother to be on the upbeat and participate in life in a similar way to her. But it is ironical that she hides her tears behind her smile. Let us see the poetic devices used in this poem. Simile: when something is compared to a different thing using the words like or as, it is called as simile. Those open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse and realized with pain. Here the open mouth and pale face of the poet's mother is compared to that of a corpse using the word like, hence the figure of speech is simile. In the line that she was as old as she looked, simile is used. The poet's mother is described as old as her looks, hence a comparison is made using the words as, the figure of speech is simile. In the lines, away I looked again at her wan, pale as a late winter's moon and felt that old. Here also the poet's mother's pale face is compared to a late winter's moon using the word as, hence simile. Imagery. Imagery includes figurative and metaphorical language to improve the reader's experience through their senses. In the lines, those open-mouthed, her face ashen like that, it is an atmosphere inside the car where the old mother looks very weak, frail and inactive. So the poet evokes the visual senses of the readers, hence the figure of speech is imagery. Trees sprinting, the merry children spilling. Here the poet depicts the youthful and exuberant life of the children and evokes the visual senses of the readers, hence imagery. Contrast. Contrast often means opposites and it is the opposition between two objects which is used to emphasize the difference. In the lines that she was as old as she looked but soon put that thought away and looked out at young. The contrasting words are old and young. The poet brings out the contrast of her mother's old age and the youth of the children. She shows the contrast between the world outside which is merry and inside which is gloomy. An indirect contrast of sadness and happiness is brought, hence the figure of speech is contrast. In the lines, familiar ache, my childhood's fear, but all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." All I did was smile and smile and smile. The poet brings out a contrast of her fear of her mother's death and overcomes it by smile. There is an explicit contrast made using the word but. Hence the figure of speech is contrast. Personification. Personification is a figure of speech in which an idea or thing is given human attributes or and feelings or is spoken of as if it were human. In the lines, "Please sprinting, the merry children spilling," personification is used. Please sprinting. Sprinting or running is a human behavior. Actually, it is the fast movement of the car which makes the trees look running along the car. So the trees are personified, hence the figure of speech used here is personification. Metaphor states that one thing is another thing. It equates those two things not because they actually are the same, but for the sake of comparison or symbolism. Just like how liquid flow over the edge of its container, children come out of their house. Children are compared to liquid spilling out. Hence the figure of speech is metaphor. In the last line, repetition is used. Repetition means a word or phrase repeated more than one time to put emphasis. So in the last line, all I did was smile and smile and smile. The word smile is repeated. Actually, it is an ironical statement where the poet hides her tears behind the smile. Hence the figure of speech is repetition. Enjambment, when a line runs on into the next with no stop or pause, maintaining the sense. Here the lines which are denoted with an arrow do not have any punctuation at the end. For example, in the first line, driving from my parents, there is no punctuation. Even in the second line, you can see that home to Cochin last Friday, after that there is no punctuations. So all the lines denoted using an arrow do not have any punctuation, and these lines have the figure of speech enchantment. Caesura, it is a break in line where the reader pauses, usually through punctuation. So all the lines marked with arrows have caesura. The first line you can see morning, comma, I saw my mother. There is a punctuation after morning. Even in the line doors, comma, open mouth, comma, her face. So all the lines marked using the arrows have caesura. I hope, dear students, you all would have understood the figure of speech and the explanation given for the poem My Mother at 66. Subscribe my channel to get the new updates and watch the earlier videos. If you like this video, do click the like button and share with your friends. Thank you. Happy learning.